Sorry. God. Yo, welcome back to another edition of Across the Plane. We have a great show tonight, a big show tonight, one of our favorite shows to do every single year. But right now, I am one of your three hosts. I am Marcel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at styles_rap is life for both. Come give me a follow. Timberwolves season is just kicked off. The Bears are they're just very but I'm still talking, man. I'm still on there active, trying to hear from y'all, trying to hear from the fans. So make sure you go give me a follow.
Yo, what is going on, folks? This is Will. Go ahead, check me out at Sports Talk Willie. And as always, go and check out the main page. That's all at Across the Plane, and that's the with an A. We are back. This is NBA shows. Obviously, you are hearing this just after the NBA season kicked off, but this is one of our favorite shows to do throughout the year. We like to always look back and see how bad or good our predictions are.
Jake the Rookie, that's THA, like Across the Plane. Yeah, back for our annual prediction. So just want to shout out the 5-1 division leading Vikings real quick. Skull. And yeah, follow everybody on the social media.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Shout out to the Vikings, man. They were my pick to win the division, and I am just feeling really good about that prediction right now. So yeah. Today we got our NBA prediction show. We're going to talk all basketball. The season has already kicked off, but we did do our predictions before the season kicked off. We just did not have a chance to record. So we're just going to do it a couple days after. It's okay. It's not like after game one. Everyone except the Clippers and the Bucks have only played one game, and it's not like and our predictions have changed because of one game, except for the Wolves. They're going to win the finals now. Yeah, because they beat OKC. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead, kick things off. We're going to start with the Eastern Conference, of course. That's what we always do. We always save the West for last because the West is more fun. I'm going to go 15-1. Just say something quick about each team as I go through. I got the Indiana Pacers at 15. Personally, I do think they're probably one of the least talented teams in the East. And I think they're going to end up trading both Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. But they still got some solid pieces there. Tyrese Halliburton, Chris Duarte.
Rookie looks nice. Benedict Mathurin.
Yep. Mathurin. And O'Shea Brissett, I think is his name. So they got some nice young core pieces, and they're just a Victor Wembanyama away. Man, that Tyrese and Victor combo would be nasty in Indiana. So, yeah, I think they're going to be last in the Eastern Conference. At 14, I have the Orlando Magic. They're probably a year away from really making a push for that play-in. I think they're going to be super competitive, and they're going to, pull some upsets. But I think they're just a little too young. Their point guards just can't stay healthy. Like their top 3 point guards all have been dealing with injuries between Cole, Suggs, and Markelle. So I'm a little concerned about that. But Apollo has already played one game, and he's already looked like he's going to be an NBA star in this league. But I just think they're a year away from really pushing for a playoff spot. So I got them at 14. At 13, I have the Detroit Pistons. They're another team I think is like really close to really getting into that Eastern Conference playoff mix. But I think, again, they're a little too young. I'm curious. They traded for Bojan Bogdanovic. I'm really curious to see like how that's going to work out. I don't know if they're going to keep him or they're going to trade him again when January 15th comes. But yeah, they're still just a little too young. But they're going to be a fun team to watch. That should be on everyone's League Pass team for sure. 12, I got the Washington Wizards. I'm just not a big fan of their roster. Their point guard isn't very good. Their wings aren't very good. It's really just Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis, and like some solid pieces, but the point guard position is really concerning for me. I mean, their point guards right now are Monte Morris and DeLon Wright. Those are two backup guys that they're about to start. So I'm not super big on them this year. I do think a guy like Bradley Beal might be an all-star. I think he could have a nice bounce back year, but I'm not super high on the Wizards. At 11, before we get to the play-in teams, I have the Charlotte Hornets. Now, there's a lot of people who are super low on this team. I'm not. I think LaMelo Ball alone kind of elevates them to mediocre, and playing in the Eastern Conference. So I kind of think that's what's going to happen with the Hornets is that they're just going to be like really mediocre for most of the year. Steve Clifford isn't like a bad coach either. So I think they're going to like fight for that play-in spot, but I think they're just barely going to miss it. Unless LaMelo Ball ends up being out for a bit, then they should definitely tank for Victor. Like if they want to tell LaMelo, hey, we're going to pay you to take a year off because we want Victor Wembanyama, I think that'd be honestly the best move for Charlotte. But they probably won't do it. And plus, Miles Bridges is still a restricted free agent for them. And the season is now starting. Who knows what's going on with that? So yeah, those are all the lottery teams coming out the East. At the 10 spot, I got New York Knicks. Adding Jalen Brunson, I do think it's going to elevate them just a tiny bit, move them up the ladder a little bit. I don't think they're going to be a great team, but I do think that they're going to win some games between Tom Thibodeau, Julius Randle, and Jalen Brunson, and they're going to find a way to get that last play-in spot. Number 9, I got the Chicago Bulls. I think not having Lonzo is going to be huge for them. Zach LaVine is also now out with an injury. They were barely a 500 team when Lonzo did not play last year. He is a big piece of that team. They are going to get Patrick Williams back this year, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. So I think there's a chance they could like pull an upset and get that A spot in the play-in tournament, but I'm just not super high on the Bulls this year. I just don't have a lot of faith in them. Number 8, Toronto Raptors. I mean, they're the Raptors. Biggest reason I just really like the 7 teams in the East better than them. It really has nothing to do with have anything against Toronto. They're well coached. They have a good starting 5. Their lack of a big man and the fact that they don't have a lot of depth, I think might hurt them in the regular season. In the playoffs, I think it might be fine because that's when teams usually play their starters a lot of minutes anyway. But yeah, in the regular season, I think they're going to take some lumps. 7, this might be kind of controversial. I don't think so. I got the Brooklyn Nets. I just don't really believe in them as title contenders. I do think they could be one of those. You don't really want to see them in the playoffs because you just never know what version of the team you're going to get. But I don't think teams should be too concerned about Brooklyn. I think they'll be like better than the Lakers, but they're kind of like the Lakers for me, where it's like they have the names, but I mean they don't like strike fear into your heart like they would just even a few years ago. So I got them at 7. 6, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think my biggest concern for them is that their backcourt, even though they're just going to be elite offensively, they're really small. Both Mitchell and Garland are 6'1". I think that's going to be tough defensively on them. They're going to get some tough assignments, and then have to hold their own on the offensive end too. I do like Cleveland. I like Cleveland more than Brooklyn actually, but yeah, that the backcourt defense is going to be kind of concerning for me. Number 5, I have the Atlanta Hawks. I'm just really curious to see this team play. Like 2 point guards in the backcourt. DeJounte's a good defender, though. I think that's the biggest difference. That's the biggest reason why I had the Hawks ahead of Cleveland is that with DeJounte Murray in the backcourt, you're just a little better off defensively, and I think that's going to give them a little bit of a push. And plus, Atlanta beat Cleveland last year in the play-in, so I got to show respect. I'm going to give it to Atlanta. 4, I got the Miami Heat. There's just talk about this team falling off. I just don't see it. I get it. They lost PJ Tucker, but I think that will hurt them in the playoffs more than it would the regular season. I I think this team's gonna be really good, man. Eric Spoelstra's a really good coach. They have 2 All-Star, maybe even 3 if Tyler Hero takes another leap. All-Stars on that team. I mean, they just don't really have much of a weakness. They can get even like 80% of Toronto Kyle Lowry. They're gonna be a tough team to beat. 3, I have the Boston Celtics. I think this team's going to be really good. I'm really curious to see how much the Ime situation is going to like hover over them. Like they were talking about in the broadcast, it didn't matter much against Philadelphia, but that's Philadelphia. So yeah, I'm curious to see. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to win over 50 games. But it's going to be really interesting to see how this team plays out. Number 2, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. I think they're going to be really good this year. They'll be getting Chris Middleton back eventually. I think the biggest thing for them is just going to be health. When their big 3 all play, they're like really good. When even one of them is out, they're like hover around 500. It's really crazy how important all 3 of their big 3 is. And then my number 1 seed, I have the Philadelphia 76ers, man. I think Harden and Embiid are about to just have a great year. I'm really excited to see them a full offseason together for the first time. Harden appears to be back in shape. That's my team to watch in the East, man. It's the Philadelphia 76ers. I think they're going to be really good. And yeah, it's my Eastern Conference.
That's, I think we got the same playoff teams.
Wouldn't be surprised.
All right. Should I go next?
Yep, go ahead, Jake.
All right. I got at the bottom, I got the Magic at 15. Young, exciting team. I just think they're gonna have trouble closing out games. They're gonna upset some good teams though.
Like the Wolves.
Oh yeah, like the Wolves.
They're gonna sweep the Wolves.
The Pacers are at 14. Also just young, exciting, just not enough talent to close out games. Pistons, I got at 13. I really like the Pistons this year. This would probably be my league pass team. I think they're going to be exciting. I want to see. I think Cade Cunningham takes a big step up, and it's just going to be a good team to follow this year. Next, I got the Hornets. I think they're gonna miss Miles Bridges dunks, but other than that, I think they're gonna be in a very competitive race for the last play-in spots. I think the 10 through 12 is going to be or the 9 through 12, maybe even the 8 through 12 is going to be very, very close. Then we got the 11. I got the Knicks barely missing the play-in. I think they're good, but closing out games. That's going to be a thing. I think they're going to lose some really close games.
That's the Tom Thibodeau special. Actually, they went through that last night. That's great.
And they did that in overtime in the opener. So that's why I have them barely missing the play-in. At 10, I got the Washington Wizards. I think I'm higher on this team than a lot of people. I like the roster. I think they'll be good in the regular season. And once they hit the play-in game, they'll get absolutely demolished by my 9 seed or the Bulls. I think the Bulls going to start off slow-ish and then pick it up towards the end. I really like Ayo. Ayo. Yeah, I think that's a really good draft pick for them. They came up with that one. And he's a player to watch out for. I think agree. if he's not on your radar already.
He's starting for them while Lonzo's out too.
Exactly. So MIP candidate just off the first game.
That's not a bad one.
And then we got number 8, Brooklyn Nets. I think this team is gonna be just very entertaining to follow. They're gonna be bad, and then they're gonna get really hot, and then they're gonna probably be bad again. It's just gonna be a streaky. What are the Nets doing? And in the end, they just have nobody to protect the paint, and that's probably going to be the downfall of this team.
They got smoked by the Pelicans.
They got smoked by the Pelicans, but I think the Pelicans are going to be pretty good. Raptors, I got at 7. I like this team up and down. I think they're going to be solid, and they're probably going to win a lot of their home games. We got the Heat at 6. I think they take a little step back from the number 1 seed. Just from what I've seen in the preseason so far, and not that that's any indicator, but I like them to take a step back from the 1 seed they had last year. We got
step back.
Then we got the Cavs creeping up to 5 from, I think they were 6 last year.
They were 8, but then they lost the play-in.
Okay. So yeah, so they were 8, but they lost the play-in. I got them getting a spot. I think the addition of Donovan Mitchell will be enough to get them into the playoffs. Plus, those young guys are improving. I really like Evan Mobley this year. It's going to be a fun team to watch. I think the Hawks are the 4 seed. They'll be the first team with a home court advantage in the playoffs. And I think the Hawks Cavs series will be very fun to watch. Trae Young is going to be great. I think him and DeJounte Murray combination is going to work out just as they plan. Hopefully Capella can stay healthy. We got 76ers at 3. It's just, it's the Sixers. They have potential to be 1, but I got them at 3 just because, they tend to underperform. We got the Celtics at 2, just super well coached team, deep team. I worry about them kind of at center, but we'll have to see how this works out.
Robert Williams is out till at least December.
Exactly.
They were playing. They had Noah Vonleh having the Garden B.
Yeah. So that's the only knock I have on them. But other than that, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum is one of the most exciting combinations. Plus Marcus Smart, Brogdon. I love the backcourt. Everyone can handle the ball on the front court. Center's the only weakness for me.
Timberwolves legend Noah Vonleh.
Then I got Bucks at 1. MVP Giannis. Need I say anything else?
Yeah, the Bucks just got to stay healthy. That's gonna be their biggest thing. They've had so many deep playoff runs that their bodies are starting to give out a little bit. All right. I'm curious to hear Will's, because Will always has one team where you're just like, why are they that high?
Let's go, baby. I think there's really only one team that I have that's pretty different from you guys. So I'll start with the bottom.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say about the Magic. Victor Wembanyama, that's all I'm gonna say. The Hornets.
How big do they need?
Victor Wembanyama. Honestly, I think no Miles Bridges. LaMelo's out to start the season. I think the Hornets are gonna be awful. I just don't like their roster. It's outside of LaMelo Ball. Terry Rozier is a nice piece, but
they have a bunch of pieces that would be better separate than they would be together.
Yeah, it's just a weird roster. Like, it really is a weird roster. I don't like it. I think they're really going to miss Miles Bridges. I think they're going to do really bad to start off the season and dig themselves into a hole, and then realize that it's not worth it to win games and take for Victor Wembanyama. So
I don't think Michael's going to do that.
So I got the Pacers, Victor Wembanyama, but I think my MIP Tyrese Halliburton pulls him ahead, giving him that not the worst spot, but third to worst. Pistons, coming in at 12. I like the Pistons roster. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think they're going to struggle to win games, but I still think they'll be better than the 3-1. I think there's actually a lot of talent on that roster. Wizards at 11. I think Beal's going to have a pretty good season, but honestly, like it's just not that. I just don't like the roster. I really don't like Porzingis. Not a fan of him. Kyle Kuzma is a nice piece, but outside of that, they really don't have much. And I think it's going to be a pretty inefficient season from Bradley Beal, putting up 25 shots a game. Knicks at 10. You know, I think Jalen Brunson is going to be pretty good for the Knicks. I really do. I think they had a hard-fought game against the Grizzlies, who are a tough team. I think they're going to be solid, man. I think they're going to sneak into that final seed of the play-in. Hawks coming in at 9.
Man, that's so low.
Yeah, I'm just not as high on the Hawks as everyone else is, honestly, and I'm also just a lot higher on the team. Questions about their coaching. Honestly, I just don't think DeJounte Murray necessarily moves the needle in that right direction for him. I think that team is a perennial.
Their bench is pretty sus too.
I don't know. I'm just not as big on them. I don't think DeJounte.
I like Bogdanovich off the bench.
Yeah, it's Bogdanovich and Okunwe, and then it's a whole lot of mids after that.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Honestly, you know what? My reasoning is they have Jarrett Culver on the team. You're not making a top seed if you have Jarrett Culver on the team.
He was on Memphis last year.
Not good. All right. Out of the play-in. We're making it to the Raptors now at 8. Raptors are just a team. They're always going to be there. They're one of the best coach teams in the league. They have good depth. They've got great. I mean, the players they have are really solid for that team. They're just so well coached. It's hard for me to put them lower than the 8 seed. I wouldn't be surprised if they're as high as the 5 seed. Cavs coming in at 7. I think they're just going to take a little bit to gel, but I really do like that team. I think they can have some. I predict them to have playoff success, but I think it takes a while for them to gel. Darius Garland got hurt last night, but I agree with you, Marcel. It is a small backcourt, but I really like the pieces they have. I think they've got good starting 5, good defensive prowess. And the thing is their backcourt might be weak, but I think the rest of the starting lineup really makes up for it with Horo, Allen, and Mobley. I think those are all very, very, very great defensive players. I guess Karis LeVert got the start, but they've got a really, really good roster. So we got Cavs coming in at 7, Bulls in at 6. I know everyone's really low on the Bulls, but honestly, like we forget that DeMar is coming off of a MVP level season. I think he's going to average close to 30 a game again. I like Io. I like Patrick Williams coming back. And the thing is, the Bulls have a solid roster. They have a really good roster. DeMar's going to come out. He's going to average 35 a game. Zach LaVine's not going to miss a whole lot of time. Yeah, they don't have Lonzo for the year, but honestly, I think they've got some really nice pieces. And I just think Bulls are a team that people really want to write off, and it's going to be frustrating for me because I think DeMar's just going to do what he did last night and drop 35 a game on efficient shooting.
DeMar DeRozan in the Eastern Conference is just a completely different player.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. DeMar in the East, man. Man's is going to average 35 a game. Like, Nets at 5. Not feeling great about it, but I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm making these predictions as if I didn't watch game 1. I'm not going to overreact to game 1. I think it's just going to take a little bit to gel. They have a really nice team. I mean, they have, honestly, if fully healthy, they're the best shooting team in the league, I'd say, in my opinion, fully healthy.
With Ben Simmons?
With Seth Curry and Joe Harris coming back, who I think statistically are like the 2 best 3-point shooters in the league, not to mention you got KD. We'll see. TJ Warren's supposed to make a return at some point this season, but I think
it's Seth impossible to be the best with Ben Simmons, though. I feel like that'll just bring your percentage down.
Not really, he won't take him.
Ben Simmons doesn't even shoot them. I think he took 3 shots last night.
How can you bring down your percentage if he's not shooting 30%? That doesn't make sense. Come on now.
My biggest thing about Brooklyn, they might have the worst coach in the league too.
They might.
They might have the worst.
We're not sure though.
They're so talented though.
Yeah, I mean, Patty Mills. I just really like them. Royce O'Neal's a good 3-and-D guy. Patty Mills, Seth Curry, and Joe Harris shooting threes. Like that's
That's true, but they're gonna get killed on the boards. That's why I'm so low on them. They have nobody to rebound.
I think
Nick's
they'll be all right. I
Claxton.
just think I
That's
think
it.
it's a tough matchup. I think they'll be fine though. I think the East runs a little smaller. I think it's a tough matchup. That was a tough matchup. Pelicans play big. Um, and Pelicans got a really good team, man. I'm really high on the Pelicans, so I'm not going to knock the Brooklyn too much.
I had Brooklyn lower even before I watched the game. I just think it's gonna be a weird, entertaining year for them though. But yeah, they could go higher than what I think as well. Like 5 is
That's
definitely reasonable.
You could talk me them finishing anywhere 1 through 8.
Yeah.
You could really
I
talk
just
me
think
into
health
it.
is going to be a big thing. I think if Seth Curry, which looks like he will, I think if Seth Curry, Joe Harris, and PJ Warren find their way back on the court this year, it's a completely changes that dynamic. But I really like what they did in the additions of the offseason. Really like, I mean, I think trading for Royce O'Neal's big. He's a good wing defender, can hit the open three. I just think it'll take a minute to gel. So I'm not really too worried about the Nets. Heat, I have at 4. Again, they were the 1 seed last year, and like I think my reason is, do we really think that PJ Tucker is the difference between them? Like, I mean, sure, yeah, maybe it's the difference between them not making the 1 seed, but PJ Tucker is not the regular season guy. They're an amazing coach team. They're great defenders, and Bam and Jimmy are going to keep that team afloat. I just, it's hard for me to see him falling past like the 5 seed, in all honesty. And then top 3, I think these are pretty consensus. I have 76ers down at 3. I just think that Sixers team is a little weird. Like James Harden he's really good, but he's like still extremely ball dominant. I think that can end up hurting that team in times. But again, I still have him at the 3 seed. Celtics at 2. I actually don't think the Ime Udoka thing is gonna like be a detriment to this team as much as a lot of people think it is. I think they're actually gonna kind of rally around that and almost treat it as a chip on their shoulder, because I think they know people are expecting a fall off because of that. But honestly, they played great in their season opener. Robert Williams, he'll make his return at some point. That'll be huge for the team, and I think they're going to be just rolling, man. That team is really good. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in their prime. They've got great depth, great defense, great shooting. I mean, it's just they're a very well-rounded team. And then the Bucks at 1. They're the Bucks. I think I don't really have much to say, man. They're just going to dominate. I don't have Giannis winning MVP, but I think I think at the end of the season, I'm going to say that he should win MVP. I just think voters are going to want to give my pick MVP over Giannis just for voter fatigue. But yeah, Bucks coming in at 1. Hard for me to see. They're a really good defensive team, and Chris Middleton will find his way back on the court sometime this year. So it's really just the Hawks and the Bulls, I think, are my biggest discrepancies.
Yeah. You have Brooklyn higher than we do too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the East, yeah, other than really the Hawks, I think that's the only one we're kind of like, I don't know about that. But I think the rest of the East is pretty straightforward.
I don't see with the starting 5 as good as the Hawks, how they're not at least in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think DeJounte Murray is just going to be a positive for them.
He's going to fix all the defensive troubles on the backcourt.
I don't think he's going to fix all the defensive troubles, to be honest. I mean, they were the 8 seed last year. I think the Cavs got better than them. I think every team above them is better. Like and that was really my reasoning. Was I looked at last year's playoff standings. They came in as a 9 seed, or they came in as an 8 seed. I think Hawks or Cavs passed them up. And I think every team that finished higher above them last year is going to finish higher than them this year. And I don't think DeJounte Murray moves the needle too much, because a lot of teams in the East got a lot better.
I don't know, but if you see how much of a step back the Spurs took just from losing DeJounte Murray, that makes me think that he's actually an impact player.
I don't know. They're pretty bad.
Yeah, and they're going to be really bad.
They're going to be historically bad.
They're tanking on purpose. So, yeah. I just don't think being like, oh, they traded their star from a tanking team. Look, now they're losing more games without him is like an indicator. Well, Spurs won 25 more games with him this year, so therefore the Hawks are going to win 15 more games. I see him finishing right around 40, right exactly the same, 43, 44. I think the rest of the teams in the East are just going to cook him.
I got him at 40. I got him at 40. What's their over under? I got him at 47.
Yeah, I think they're more like 47, 48. Pushing 50 even.
DeJounte had a really good year. They're pushing 50. Where is I'm looking for the Atlanta Hawks. This is poorly written. Yeah.
I just think he opens up Trae Young so much with his passing ability too. It's just gonna be
their over under is set at 45.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
You and 48.
You and I probably take the over. We'll probably take the under.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on.
He had 5 steals and a block in the opener.
Yeah, and 11 assists, I think.
Yeah.
Him and Trae Young combined for like 24 of their 30 assists, I believe.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I think.
I think
that's a great backcourt. I think they complement each other.
Their benches.
Yeah, their bench is gonna be bad though. Their starting 5 is really good. They could probably
Bogdan can light it up.
Bogdan,
but
can
other
play,
than that,
and
nobody.
Okongwu can play, and that's really it. Frank Kaminsky might get playing time on this team.
Yeah, if you give him Frank Kaminsky playing time, I'm sorry, you're probably not going to be a top seed in the playoffs.
That's a vet.
All right, moving on to the Western Conference. We'll do it the same exact way. At 15, I have the San Antonio Spurs. Honestly, I think they're about to be historically bad. I know you're not supposed to overreact to one game, but man, they just got ran off the court by Charlotte with no LaMelo Ball at home. They got ran off the court. This team, it's Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson, I think, is going to be nice, maybe even an MIP candidate.
And I didn't even look at this. Bogdanovich had surgery in the offseason, so we'll see.
That's right, he's out.
When he comes back, and if he comes back to the player he was, he had knee surgery.
That's right. I just picked him up in fantasy basketball, put on IR actually. But yeah, I think the Spurs are going to be historically bad. Greg Popovich has already said, like, I wouldn't even. His exact words were, I wouldn't go to Vegas and bet on the Spurs to win a championship, which is basically saying we are going to suck this year, and I hope you're all ready for it. So yeah, I think they're going to be really bad. Spurs are not going to be a fun team to watch.
You're not going to have fun watching Doug McDermott?
Well, I mean, actually, we're going to see him quite a bit soon because they play the Wolves like in 3 of the next 6 games or something. So we're gonna get to see quite a handful of them. But yeah, they're gonna be really bad. I mean, honestly, I think they win like 18 games only. I think that's what they want. I think Spurs fans should be in the full on, get their Victor jerseys ready. 14, I have the Jazz. They're another team I think it's gonna be really bad. Colin Sexton's coming off the bench for them. I did not expect that, Jordan. But I think it's mostly because they want to trade Jordan Clarkson, and so they got start him to try to boost his what they could get for him. And there's a lot of guys in that team I don't think are going to finish the year on that team. Malik Beasley, Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, Kelly Olynyk. I think Rudy Gay. I think those are some guys that we're not going to see on Utah when the trade deadline comes. Really, the only guys I think that are probably safe are Colin Sexton, Jared Vanderbilt, and Walker Kessler, and that's really it. Oh, and Taylor Horton Tucker.
Timberwolves legend, Walker Kessler.
Walker Kessler, man. He never lost a game when he was a Timberwolf, just saying.
That's right.
Hasn't lost a game
hasn't lost a game in the Jets. He's
undefeated in his NBA career.
Hasn't missed a shot even. He went 5 for 5. He's 100% from the field. But yeah, they're gonna be really bad. 13, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder. I do think this is the team early in the year. You're going to be like, you really don't want to play them. But then I think they're going to like learn pretty quickly that they're just nowhere near like being a play-in team. And I think they're going to just start shutting guys down left and right. And they got one more year tanking in them, tanking for Victor. And I mean, honestly, if they do get Victor Wembanyama, that team is going to be really nasty in the next few years. Do not be surprised if SGA's name's coming up around the trade deadline. I would not be surprised by that at all. Not because they don't like SGA, but because he's honestly going to ruin their tanking chances. He had 32 last night against the 32, 6-5, I think, against the Wolves. He's going to ruin their tanking chances. And I would not be surprised if he gets either shut down or gets traded. So, yeah, OKC at 13. I got the Rockets at 12. There's a lot of people low on this team. I think this team is going to be like how the Wolves were when they got Cat early on, where you're going to watch them. You're like, oh yeah, I see the flashes. I see where the talent is. I don't think they really beat any good or great teams, so maybe pull off one or two upsets. But they're a solid young core, man. I think they're gonna surprise some people, win around 30-ish games. I don't know. I don't even know if they're a league pass team, but I do expect them to do all right. Number 11, I really want to put this team in the play-in, but I just couldn't do it. I just think the 10 teams in front of them are going to be a little better. But I got the Sacramento Kings. I think Fox and Sabonis have a chance to be really good, but I'm not super big on the rest of the team. Harrison Barnes is on the final year of his contract, so I don't know if he's going to finish the year there. Keegan Murray, I actually really like Keegan Murray. I didn't like the draft pick at the time, but I do think it's going to end up working pretty well for them. They got Davion Mitchell and Malik Monk coming off the bench, but
Kevin Huerter,
I mean, he's a good shooter. That's all he really does. I think that I do
6 threes last night. He was looking good.
I do think they have a legitimate shot at the plan, but I just have them barely missing it.
In Kings fashion.
Yeah, because they're really gonna hate who I have in the 10th spot. I got the LA Lakers, man. I got the Lakers at 10. I really do not like this team outside their big three. Actually, the other night, ESPN kept calling it a big four, and Jeff Van Gundy had to keep correcting them. Like, it's not a big four, it's a big three with Patrick Beverley. I do think Patrick Beverley, biggest thing with the Lakers last year, they just had no dog or fight in them. They were like losing to San Antonio and Oklahoma City last year and Sacramento. Like, they were losing to some pretty bad teams. And I do think bringing in Patrick Beverley does elevate them to beat those kind of teams. But I do not think he elevates them to beat like the teams that I have above them. Their big three, I think it's going to be really solid this year. But I think the rest of that roster is so bad, it's just going to bring them down. I honestly don't think LeBron really cares. I think the last thing LeBron is thinking about is passing Kareem, and that's all he really cares about for this season. He wants to do it in the Lakers jersey. He wants to do it in Crypto.com arena. I just can't see the Lakers being that good. I know a lot of people are like, well, if LeBron and AD are healthy, yeah, that's a big if. Neither of them have been healthy other than the bubble season.
AD's different now.
AD,
he's not the defensive anchor that he once was, you know?
Well, he was really good defensively against the Warriors, but offensively, man, they want him to shoot threes, which makes no sense. He's been 28. He shot 28% from three since he's gotten to LA, 31 for his career. I have no idea why you're asking him to shoot and take threes. It's because actually I do know why. It's because you did not get any shooters for the rest of the roster, and so now you're stuck trying to convince yourself Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis need to shoot more threes. All of them need to shoot less threes, except for maybe LeBron. Maybe LeBron should shoot a few more. But yeah, I can't get into that team. And I'm a LeBron fan, and it sucks that they're going to be pretty mids this year. Number 9, I have the Portland Trail Blazers. I have both the Blazers and Lakers hovering around 500, but I do think I do like the Blazers team a little bit better. They're another backcourt whose defense is going to harm them. Maybe even a little more than their offense will help them. But they do have some solid defenders in Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, and Gary Payton, all on that team. So I do think they're going to be okay defensively. Chauncey Billups seems to have a defensive philosophy that might work, but I do think they're a tier below between the other 8 teams in the West. Number 8, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. I know a lot of people are super high on this team. I do think this team is going to be really good. but I gotta see it all put together for long periods of time. They got Zion back, and I think they only won like 38 or so games last year. I do think they win up to like 44, 45 this year. But the West is going to be tough. There's a lot of good teams in the West, and I think that's going to give them some issues. And they don't really have a real point guard. CJ McCollum is their point guard, and I think he's more of a two guard, playing point guard. But they're going to be fun. They're going to be a fun, good team to watch. Number 7, here's probably my biggest controversy: the LA Clippers. Now, hear me out.
I'm hearing you out. I kind of agree with this. So I feel like they could be. Oh, they're a wild card. They could be anywhere from 1 to 8.
And I completely agree. I
genuinely feel that way about every single team in the playoffs that I have 1 through 8 in the West.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel that about every team but the Warriors. That's the only one I don't feel like it's going to be super low. I think they're too deep. Anyway, my biggest thing is I just don't think, 1, they're going to care much about the regular season. And 2, I just don't believe that they can stay healthy enough through the regular season to really contend for a top seed. Kawhi and PG just have a career of dealing with like nagging injuries. For Paul George, it kind of feels like every other year he's like healthy and plays a bunch, and then he'll just miss a bunch of time. I games, and it's gonna take time to gel. They haven't even played yet. They played tonight, but I think they're gonna win like over 45 games, but I think this regular season isn't going to go how a lot of people think it is. Now, they're definitely a team you don't want to play in the playoffs. And unfortunately, it's unfortunate who I have them matched up with in the first round. But yeah, I think they're going to be fun. But if they stay healthy for like 65 games where most of their core is playing, then I think the sky's the limit for them. I just don't see that happening. I just think, 1, I don't think Kawhi even wants to play that many games. And 2, I don't think the Clippers want their stars playing that many games. I think they want them ready for the playoffs. Number 6, this is another team I think a lot of people are high on. I'm not as high on them, even though I do think, again, they're going to be really good. The Denver Nuggets. Their defense is always like sneaky pretty good. I'm a little curious to see what that's going to look like with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. Jamal Murray is an okay defender, but he's coming off a pretty bad knee injury. Michael Porter Jr. is an awful defender, and he's just, other than 2 years ago, has just been injured most of his career. So we'll see how many games they play. They got just absolutely blown out by the Jazz last night. I don't think that's any type of indictment on them, but that was crazy to see. That was probably the biggest shocker of all the first games. So just seeing the Jazz run them off the court. And offensively, they did not play well. Defensively, they allowed like 123 points. We're gonna have to see with Denver. I'm not as high on them, but but the entire West is filled with teams that you don't really want to see in the playoffs, and they're gonna have to play each other. But number 5, I have the Phoenix Suns. I think they take a big step back from last year, but I mean they won over 60 games last year, so it just kind of sounds like, I mean, they just kind of due for a regression. I do think the DeAndre Ayton thing is just going to kind of hover over them. The Robert Sarver thing is just going to hover over them. And I think they're just going to beat up on like all the bad teams. But I think I don't think they strike fear into anyone anymore. I don't think anyone sees Phoenix and it's like, oh man, we got to play the Suns. We got to be ready. Patrick Beverley called them out on that. And I think players are going to hear that and be like, maybe you're right. Maybe we can, just go in and just outplay them because they just don't want it as much. So yeah, Suns just got a lot of issues. I think I'll hover over them. Not enough for them to miss the playoffs, but enough where it's kind of like, I don't know if they're really a contender. Number 4, I got the Golden State Warriors. Only reason they're this low is because I think they're just going to have stretches in the regular season where their stars aren't going to play, and they're just be like, we don't care. Like January and February is going to come around. Everyone's going to see them playing like 500 basketball, and everyone's going to be like, oh, what's wrong with the Warriors? Nothing. They're just kind of getting ready for the playoffs. I mean, if they cared about the regular season, they'd probably be a lot higher on this list, but I just think I think we're about to see them start out really hot and end really hot, and then in the middle, we're just going to see a bunch of meh. Number 3, I have the Dallas Mavericks. I am I am fully on board that Luka is just going to carry this team a lot further than he should. um, the rest of the team is not great, but I think Luka is so good that he's just going to push them a lot higher than a lot of people expect. I do think they went over 50 games or around 50 games. Um, and I think Luka's in the MVP conversation. He's not my winner. He's actually my runner-up. Um, but I think we're in a really big year from Luka Doncic, where everyone was like, "Yeah, man, he might be the best player in the world." Um, his biggest thing is, can he stay healthy? He's missed quite a few games too. Number 2, I have our favorite team, man, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think this team is going to be so good in the regular season. I know they only won by 7 against the Thunder, but watching them in the preseason, I just feel very confident they're just going to beat up on bad teams, especially as they get rolling into the season, kind of get build some chemistry with each other. I think they're just going to, when the middle of the season hits, I think they're just going to be beating up on bad teams. The biggest question mark for them is how well they do against really good teams. That I don't know. It feels like teams might can go small on them and take advantage of that. I don't know how well it's going to work, because then you still have their size. Cat can space the floor. But I think they're going to be really good in the regular season. I'm really high on them. I may be dangerously too high, but hey, I'm going down with the ship, man. Even when they gave up a 19-2 run against OKC, I was kind of like, we gonna come back. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. And then my number 1 seed, I have the Memphis Grizzlies, man. Like, I still think this team's going to be really good, even without Jaren Jackson Jr., man. I really like Ja Morant. I really like Taylor Jenkins. I really like that team they have in Memphis. They're the team I hate to love. Like, I was like, man, they pissed me off so bad against the Wolves last year, but they're just such a fun team to watch, man. They have the swagger, they have the confidence, they have the coaching, they have the star. They have defenders, they have shooters. Like, that team is going to be really great. Yeah, everyone's going to really enjoy Memphis this year. So yeah, that's my Western Conference.
All right, I'll go next. I got at the bottom, the Spurs. I think they're gonna be historically bad. We got the Jazz 14. I think they'll also be bad, but they'll beat some teams because they got 3-point shooters. And every once in a while those 3-pointers go in. They just rain and rain. Rockets, I got at 13. Think they'll be exciting to watch, but they're not going to have much defense, and closing out games will be tough. Thunder, I think, will be very exciting. I think Shai is going to have a terrific year, and I hope he gets relieved from his Thunder. Hope someone does trade for him. I hope you're right about that. But yeah, I like the Thunder. I think they're kind of not great at center, but other than that, I like everybody else. We got
they have nothing at center.
Yeah,
they started Poku at center last night.
Yeah, exactly. So I got the Kings also at 11. They're gonna barely miss out in Kings fashion. I really, really, really wanted to put them in the playing game, but I just think it's gonna be just in Kings fashion. They're gonna lose the tiebreaker or something to the Blazers.
Yeah, I'd probably rather see the Kings than the Blazers, honestly.
I would too. I'd much rather see the Kings just because it's the Kings, and like as a Wolves fan, I understand. And then number 10, I got the Blazers. It's just, I think Dame Doll is enough to will you into the playoffs. The supporting cast is decent. Hopefully Nurkic can stay healthy. I think they have potential to be even higher. We got 9, the Lakers. I'm not feeling good about it. It's just LeBron, so it's kind of hard to exclude him out of the play-in. I think they'll win the first play-in game, and then they'll lose the second. And second best team in LA. Number 8, we got Pelicans. I like this roster. I like Zion Williamson. I think they could be even higher than 8. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people this year.
Would it be a surprise though? I feel like a lot of people are pretty high on them.
Well, if they're like the 4 seed, would that be a surprise?
Yeah, that'd be pretty surprising.
I think they have potential to be higher than an 8. I just got them at 8 just because the West is so stacked. I think it's going to be gritty, grimy, and all. Yeah, the 1 through 8 could all just. I like all these teams at 1 through 8, but the seedings might not be how. Yeah. But I got the Suns at 7, taking a big step back. Just Chris Paul's getting older, and
he's already injured,
and he's
not
already
even the playoffs
hurt.
Yet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm worried about this team already. They did pull off a comeback win last night, but they look better without Chris Paul.
Ooh, man, they paid him a lot of money too.
Yeah. 6 have the Grizzlies. I also think they take a step back. I think they're going to miss Jaren Jackson Jr.'s defense at the beginning of the year. And I think they will be 500 until he comes back, and then they'll be hot at the end. So watch out for the Grizzlies in the playoffs. We got the Nuggets at 5. They looked awful last night. I think they're going to figure it out. Jamal Murray comes back. I have faith in him and Jokic. Jokic is always rusty at the beginning of the year. It just looks out of shape always. So I expect him to get it together. Mavericks at 4. Yeah, it's Luka Doncic just taking this team. I really like the addition of Christian Wood. They're gonna miss Brunson, but I think Luka Doncic is gonna have a really good season and be an MVP consideration for sure. We got number 3. I got our Minnesota Timberwolves.
Ooh, that's too low.
That's too low.
Too low.
And the reason is Rudy Gobert. He changes this team offensively and defensively. And I'm just gonna say this right now. I know they like to alternate Gobert and Cat, but when they're on the floor together, it looked really good. And I think in the playoffs, they're gonna be a team that can beat the Memphis Grizzlies and win a playoff series. So I'm predicting the rematch.
That'd be great. That's the team. I'm like, hey, I don't think the Wolves are gonna win the finals, but man, if we could just beat Memphis, that's all I really need.
If we can whoop that trick, that would be great. And then number 2, I got the Clippers. Best team in LA. I'm gonna say that, but I have them at 2. I feel like they can finish as low as 7 or 8. It's just going to be a wild card. See who stays healthy, if they can play good. But it's a pretty deep roster. I love Norman Powell coming off the bench. So I think he could be a potential 6th man of the year. I think the Clippers are dangerous, especially in the playoffs. I'm anxious to see Kawhi back too. That's a player I like to watch. Got Warriors at number 1, the champs. It could be recency bias, but I like this team top to bottom. I like the bench players. Andrew Wiggins, Steph Curry. Jordan Poole is my 6th man of the year. I like this team a lot.
Real quick comment on Rudy Gobert. I know it's just one sample size, but the defensive rating with Rudy Gobert on the court last night was 84.8.
Is that really good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had read somewhere when he was off, it was like 141.5 or something like that. I think that seems too high, but I know there's at one point in the third quarter, they just got pretty bad defensively when he wasn't out there. But yeah, it was 84.8 when he was on the court last night.
That's my depoy.
All right, Will,
All right, let's get it. All right. I'll start at the bottom. I got the Spurs. I think they're just purposely tanking. And for the record, guys, I just looked on Stat News. The Spurs winning percentage with and without DeJounte Murray was almost exactly the same last year. There was a 0.04% in the difference. So just throwing that out there. But I think they're purposely tanking this year. Rockets in at 14. Again, Wembanyama. I mean, there's like legit 8 teams that I think are just going to tank in the race for London. So I think that's just my reasoning. Rockets at 14. Jazz at 13. I kind of want to move them up. I don't know, man. This team has some good players. The more I look at their roster, the more I'm like, they have a lot of really, really solid players.
I don't.
Rudy Gay. Walker.
I forgot about Lauri Markkanen.
Jordan Clarkson.
Olenek.
Mike Conley. Kelly Olynyk. They just got a lot of vets, a lot of guys that know how to win games. So I actually like this roster. Obviously, we all expect it to be shooken up and a very different roster by the trade deadline. But honestly, I think they're going to win too many games from now until then.
Which would be awful for them.
It'd be awful for them, but the thing is, it's one of those weird spots in the NBA where like everyone wants them to tank, but then you're probably sitting there as a head coach. And as the players, like, all right, we don't want to tank. Like, let's win some games here. Let's prove what we got.
That's how I feel about OKC, where everyone wants them to tank, and the players are gonna be like, "We're tired of tanking now."
Yeah, and that's my reason for OKC being the highest at 12. I think they've got a lot of talent. I think, like Jake was saying, I think Shai really moves the needle. I think he averages around like 27, 28 a game this year. So I think the
Got him at 12 too.
11 at the Kings. I just think they're gonna just miss out on that playing spot as much as I would like them to be. I just don't think they will.
Damn, we all got the Kings at 11. They're probably gonna get in.
I'm not against them getting in.
Lakers at 10. They suck. I mean, yeah, they suck. They have
so
a really bad roster. They have a really bad roster. I mean, it's just, man, watching that opening night game, like, yeah, it was against the Warriors. Like, you know, that's no one expected them to win. You know, it's a tough game going into the Chase Center, whatever it is now, and they got the ring ceremonies. Obviously, no one expected them to win, but man, they looked bad. They looked really bad.
They have no spacing.
Like, no spacing whatsoever. And
LeBron
said it after the
is LeBron game. Their best 3-point shooter?
He's their best everything.
Yeah. I mean, who's the Lakers' third best player?
Probably Russ. It's probably still Russ. And then fourth is Pat Bev.
Probably Toscano Anderson, to be honest.
It's just so much mids after that. It might be Kendrick Nunn.
It's
just disgusting.
Blazers at 9. I think this roster, I'm not going to say surprise people because obviously I have them at 9, but I don't know. I really like the addition of Jeremy Grant. I think like their offseason moves showed they weren't going to tank this year and they're going to try to win games. I wouldn't be surprised if I would be surprised if they break in the playoffs, but also like, I don't know. Dame Lillard is going to shake off some rust. I think he'll get hot in a couple of weeks here. And I mean, Dame Lillard, Anthony Simons, Nurkic, Jeremy Grant. That's a pretty good starting 5. Grizzlies at 8. I think they take a big step back. Honestly, they're probably, in my opinion, the only team in the West that I have in the playoffs that didn't get significantly better. They didn't have a guy that was out last year that's returning. And they didn't sign anyone in free agency. And actually, they lost Kyle Anderson, which I think is a big piece. And then Jaren Jackson being out for who knows how long.
They lost Anthony Melton too.
December. Yeah, I just think they're losing those key guys that can make a little bit of a difference. Good wing defenders can hit the open shots. And like I said, I just think every other team in the West got better besides maybe the Suns. Every team had an addition or had a star player coming back from.
But they picked up Danny Green, man. 3-time champ.
That might be the key.
We'll see. But I got the Grizzlies at 8, taking a big step back. Nuggets also, I'm going to have them at 7. I think 8 through 1 is going to be really close, so I'm just going to say that there. I don't think there's a huge difference, but I just think they're going to get off to a slow start. I just think their defense is, they're getting cooked last night. I mean, you saw a couple clips of Colin Sexton just like staring down Jokic and then just blowing right past him for an easy layup like that.
Well, how's Jokic gonna stop Colin Sexton?
He's not. How is he
Yeah.
going to stop any
Pick
of
and
the
roll,
guys that
man.
are-
They split change.
No,
that are in the West? You know what I'm saying? That's
he's
the
not
thing.
gonna stop a guard.
He can't stop big, man. Cat
Yeah, he
cooks
can't
him every
stop
like
anyone.
like you can say whatever you want about Cat, but when he sees Jokic, man, we
He don't
usually get
prepare
his
him.
best performance out
Yeah.
of him.
That's the weakest MVP ever.
Him and Steve Nash.
That's definitely Steve Nash.
Yeah, definitely Steve Nash. I'll go Steve Nash, but anyways, Nuggets at 7. I got Suns at 6. Obviously, they're taking a step back, but I still think this is a good roster, man. I think they've got good depth. Devin Booker's really good. They've got good defenders. I think there's a lot of outside noise, but honestly, I think Chris Paul is going to be a lot better than he was in his game 1 performance. I mean, they got the win.
9 for 9
Against-
from the free throw line. So
against
you
a
know you
tough-
got that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's always got that. I think Chris Paul will be better. He's a great leader of the team, and I just think that that's going to get him to the 6th seed. I just don't see that team like missing the playoffs or going into the play-in.
I think he might get cooked on defense. He looks slow.
Yeah, but they got a perennial first team or perennial all defender, all NBA defender on the wing in Miles Bridges. I think that helps a lot.
Mikal.
No, sorry. So I like that team a lot, man. I think it's pretty good. Mavs coming in at 5. I just think if Luka can play 65, 70 games, I think this team could be even higher. I love Christian Wood coming off the bench. He's actually my pick for 6th man of the year. Had 25 and 24 minutes last night, scored 13 straight points to kind of pull him back into the game. But yeah, Mavs, they're solid. I mean, I think they could use a couple more pieces. But I don't think they're gonna really miss Jalen Brunson with Christian Wood coming off the bench. I got the Pelicans coming in at number 4. I love this Pelicans team, man. They've got honestly, they don't have any holes. They've got a great big in Jonas Valanciunas. They've got great rebounders. They've got 2 stars who can average 24 plus a game in Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. CJ McCollum at the points, great. He's a great shooter. Herb Jones, he's probably going to be in that Mikal Bridges category if he could be making, 5, 6, 7, 8 first team or not first team, but all defensive teams. He's a stud on the defensive wing. They got Alvarez or Alvarado or whatever his name is, the annoying one.
Jose Alvarado.
Yeah, he's solid, man. I like him coming off the bench, man. They've got a really, really good team. It's hard for me to see this roster if they stay pretty healthy falling below that 4 or 5 seed. I mean,
I really like Larry Nance Jr. too as a backup center.
Devontae Graham, Jackson
They're a deep squad.
Garrett Temple, yeah, they're deep. They've got great starters. I think if I'm looking at pure roster construction, I think them and the Warriors have the best constructed rosters. I think they're going to be 4 seed. I'm really high on the Pelicans here. Warriors at 3. I do think they have the best roster. I just think they're going to I think the 3 seed is the Warriors coasting through the regular season. I think if they wanted to, they could easily be the 1 seed, but I just think they're going to coast. They know what they've got. They know what they've got. They know what they need at the end of the year. Really solid. I've got my Minnesota Timberwolves coming in at number 2. Now, takeaways from last game. Obviously, this is recorded after the Wolves home opener. We look good. Gave up a lot of open shots. I mean, we still, Wolves blowing a big lead in the 3rd quarter, still a thing. I think there's some concerns, but there's a lot of really good. I mean, the team looks so good with Rudy Gobert out there. I like the way we're handling our minutes and our rotations. But I saw a stat that said we gave up 47 open shots, and the next highest was 27.
We can't continue that.
Yeah, definitely some work to do. I just think we lost focus for a little bit this game, and then I almost saw a little bit of the Utah Jazz. Let's see if the Utah Jazz are just like teams being so reliant on Rudy Gobert's defense. But minor concerns. I think we'll iron out the kinks. I think we're one of the best coach teams in the league. I'm super excited for what I saw. Cat and Rudy just looked awesome together on the floor. There was a couple assists from Cat to Rudy Gobert that were just awesome. So Wolves
Cat had 7 assists last night.
Yeah, we're built to win in the regular season. Then I got the Clippers at 1. I just think this is a tough roster, man. They're really good. I think Kawhi and Paul George played most of the season. a lot of their team came back last year, and they pretty much played most of the season without those two guys last year. It's just I like that roster a lot. They got Terrence Mann's really good. They got Nick Batum coming back. They added John Wall. I think that's gonna be really good. They still got Reggie Jackson.
I think Isaiah Hartenstein is the only player they lost. Only rotation player.
Yeah, they got Covington coming back, Marcus Morris, Norm Powell coming off the bench. They're a deep team. Luke Kennard.
They can go 12 deep.
Yeah,
Amir Coffey is probably their 12th best player. He was really good for them last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really, really good team. I think they're just going to absolutely dominate this year. I think Kawhi's going to come out with something to prove. So, Clippers coming in at 1.
Yeah. My thing with the West is when it comes to the top 8, really the only one I don't see being below 4 is the Warriors. I think that's the only one I feel like confidently is going to be a top 4 seed. Everyone else, I feel like could just literally go anywhere, 1 through 8. The West is going to be so much fun this year. It's going to be so deep. That's the biggest reason why I think the Wolves have a chance to be a high seed, just because how close everything is going to be. I feel like
we're going to be able to close our games too with Gobert. I think it's going to help us in close games.
Yeah, Rudy just being in the paint, taking, deterring people away. Yeah, that's going to be huge for the Wolves.
And just offensive rebounding as well.
All right. I just want to quickly go through individual awards, and then we'll do our finals predictions. So yeah, just real quick, we'll just say who we picked for each award. For my most improved, it was for the longest I had Jaden McDaniels, man. I had Jaden McDaniels there. But I do think he's going to be a candidate. I think he's going to finish like top 3 in voting, him and Evan Mobley. But I ultimately went with Desmond Bane. I think Desmond Bane is going to take another leap this year, and that's what's going to be that's really for me the biggest reason why I think Memphis is going to be the 1 seed, and that they'll be fine with while Jaren Jackson is out, and then he'll come back and he'll just kind of really get going. Yeah.
Man was 6 for 22 last night.
Yeah, Jake, I changed my mind after 1 game. Honestly, I would change my mind about MVP if we're only going off 1 game, but we'll get to them in a minute. But yeah, Desmond Bane's my most improved.
Most improved for me is Jaden McDaniels.
I'd love to pick, man. He's
got the opportunity. Just the minute increase, he's gonna get used more. He's got more confidence. He's hit the weight room.
Yeah, he had a swagger to him last.
Yeah, he had a swagger. He's got the Vando braids. I could see him being most improved. He's got good defensive instincts. It's gonna be a fun player to watch.
About you, Will?
MIP. Tyrese Halliburton.
That's a good.
I like the McDaniels pick. I just don't think he's gonna get enough shots. When you're looking at the next guys, I think he's only gonna be taking at most 11 shots a game. 11, maybe 12 when our roster's fully healthy. But I got Tyrese Halliburton. I think all the pieces are in place. They like giving it to those third-year guys. They like giving it to second and third-year guys. He's an ascending talent. He's going to get all the shots he wants in Indiana. I won't be surprised if he averages 22, 23, and 7 or something.
Oh, yeah, that's a good pick.
I think he averaged like well over 7. He averaged 7 assists in Sacramento, and that's sharing the ball with De'Aaron Fox. He ain't sharing the ball with nobody in Indiana.
Yeah,
but his points are going to increase a lot because he was only averaging probably like 15 points in Sacramento.
Yeah. His usage in general is just going to go up. That's a really good pick.
I think other players might have more improvement necessary. Like I think Jay McDaniels is going to take a huge leap forward. I just don't think the numbers are going to be there. I don't think the usage is going to be high enough.
So nobody's picking the favorite, Anthony Edwards.
Nah.
No.
I think him being a favorite is just crazy to me. I'm like, I don't want to say there's no shot, but I was just like, I don't see it. I don't see winning MIP unless he took like a crazy near 27, 28 points per game. But there's too many scorers on this team for me to expect him to do that.
He's very streaky too. It's like a player like that that's the problem I have with Bane as well. It's like he's gonna go off for 30 and with good shooting, but he's also gonna shoot 27% and be 6 for 22 with 16 points. So it's like
Yeah, but what do you realistically see Jaden McDaniels averaging in points per game?
18.
19 now. You just dropped 19 last night. He's averaging 19 points per game right now.
If he can stay at like 34 minutes, like yeah, I like him for 18.
18, man, that'd be pretty high. I don't know if he gets to that high. Coach of the year. So I would say last year, the guy who won it last year should have won it the year before. And now I'm going to say the guy who wins it this year should have won it last year. Chris Finch is currently the favorite. I do think he's going to be top 3 in voting. Him and Doc Rivers, unfortunately. But I think Doc Rivers is going to get it just because the team is going to be successful. But I'm going with Taylor Jenkins. I really like Taylor Jenkins as a coach. I thought he was fantastic last year. I thought he should have won it last year, and because he should have won it last year, and Monty should have won it the year before, but instead won it last year. I think they're going to give it to Taylor this year to make up for the fact they had to make up for Monty last year. But which means Chris Finch is going to win it next year because he should definitely be in contention. So we'll take that. But yeah, I think again, I'm really high on Memphis. I think they're going to be really good. I think Taylor Jenkins is going to be a big reason for that. His guys rally around him, man. He's built for Memphis. Memphis is built for him. I'm really high on him.
I got Finchy.
Are you going with Cat for MVP too? Almost all your awards are Timberwolves.
No. We got one more Timberwolves, but
I got 3 Timberwolves players winning a season award. That's crazy.
One of them not a player. One of them not a player.
Has that ever happened for any team
ever? 3 award, probably not. Maybe Coach of the Year and MVP. You'll probably find, but that's probably it.
Yeah. My Coach of the Year. I want to put. I think Chris Finch will finish close second because I do have them at 2. But I went with Spoelstra just because I think a lot of people are knocking him, and I think you got to think about the voters. I think the voters are going to go into it and be like, "Damn, Spoelstra's never won Coach of the Year." For a guy who's arguably the best coach in the league, it's insane. I think voters will come around right to it. I think for his legacy, I think they're like, all right, if Spoelstra's going to get remembered as a great coach, he's going to have to win Coach of the Year at least once. I think this is the year he finally gets it. I really think. Yeah, I think they're going to want to give it to him.
I don't think he's going to earn it.
I think he's earned it every single year he's been a coach in the league.
Yeah, but like last year would have been the year to give it to him. You can't give it to him if they're going to be unless they're a top seed again.
I got him as a top 4 seed.
Yeah, if those top 4 are close in record, I think there's a shot he can get it. 6th man of the year. This one was tough for me. I think Jordan Poole has a great case for it. I think Tyler Hero also has a great chance to actually, Tyler Hero started for Miami last night, which kind of surprised me. So I don't know. Victor Oladipo did not play, so I don't know how that's going to be. I don't know if he's going to start when he's back and healthy. I didn't even know he was injured. So yeah, Tyler Hero might just be out the race because he might just start for them. But I went with Christian Wood. I think him coming off the bench is a lot better for Dallas than him starting because he's just a terrible defender. So I think him just being a spark plug off the bench. He scored 16 straight points for them last night. I think he's going to be really good off the bench. I think that's like the best spot for him. I think him and Luka are going to be really good together offensively. Yeah, I'm rolling with Christian Wood. He'll probably lead the league in bench scoring. Actually, no, he probably won't lead the league, but he'll be up. He'll average 18 and 7 off the bench, and everyone will be like, "Oh yeah, give it to him."
I like Jordan Poole.
Yeah, He's in my top 3.
I'm going with Marcelo's pick too. I think this is Christian Wood's award to lose, man. I think he'll average like 5 more points a game than Jordan Poole, who's probably the next. I want to say Jordan. I think Jordan Poole is the betting favorite, but yeah, I think Christian Wood is going to give you like 18 a game off the bench. He's going to be efficient. He's going to be an integral piece of that Dallas team. I really think he's going to like. I think he's like the runaway.
Yeah.
Personally, I think he's the runaway favorite.
I think who is the favorite right now? I think
Poole.
Tyler is Poole. Yeah, I would say. I think Poole or Hero was the favorite going into the year. Rookie of the year. So I know you're not supposed to overreact to one game, but I don't feel as good about my rookie of the year prediction as I did after he played last night. I went with Keegan Murray. I think because he's going to be the 3rd best player on the Kings, and I think the Kings are going to win more games than a lot of the other rookies. After watching Montero last night, though, man, I'm trying not to overreact to one game, but it does look like that's his award to lose. He was really good last night. But I roll with Keegan Murray. I also think a guy like Jabari Smith Jr. is someone to keep an eye on, and Jaden Ivey. I think they both can be solid contributors to their teams and put up enough points to get in the conversation. But man, Paulo looked good last night. But yeah, I'm not going to change it. I'm sticking with Keegan Murray. That's what I said before the season started. I'm not going to let one game deter that. But that kid from Duke can play. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm having the same reaction. I'm not gonna change mine, but he looked really good. But I'm going with Jaden Ivey on the Pistons. I think he's just gonna have enough opportunity, and he's got game.
I don't want to say that this was my pick before the season started, but it's Paulo, man. There's no other choice. I mean, he's gonna blow it out the water. It's
he looks
cute.
So
Keegan
good
Murray,
last
it's
night.
cute. Jaden Ivey, that's cute. But Paulo's gonna average he's gonna be an all-star his first year. He's gonna average 23 a game. And not to mention, he cashed a nice parlay for me night 1. So no matter what happens, he's my rookie of the year. Man, he's got all the physical tools. He's gonna have all the opportunity, all the physical tools. He's gonna play every single game.
He's gonna be really good.
He's gonna be. I mean, he's built like Melo already.
He got it.
We know it's Paulo's award to lose. I went with some favorites here, but I think I'm gonna get at least 3 player award predictions right.
Yeah, man, Paulo just totally made me. I don't even want to say regret because I'm not changing it.
He was doing this in the preseason, man. He looked good. Did this in the summer league too.
No, I'm not backing down. It's gonna be Keegan Murray.
I will say my second pick is Keegan Murray. I think he's gonna average 15 a game for the Kings.
Yeah, I try to be different. Probably try to be too cute on that one. It's okay though. I'm sticking with it. Depoy, man. There's some solid candidates out there, man.
I think we're unanimous. Rudy Gobert here. Let's just be honest.
Drew Holiday. I thought about Joel Embiid, but nah, man. It's gonna be Rudy. Yeah, Rudy's going to win number 4, and it's gonna have. He's gonna have such a huge impact on the Wolves defense. Like I said, he was at 84.9 defensively when he was on the court last night. I think the Wolves defensive rating as a whole is 100.9. Again, it's only one game. But man, he's gonna make such a huge impact on defense. And if the Wolves are a top 5 defense, it's his award to lose.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert.
Can't disagree with any of that. We might have cursed him, but it's Rudy Gobert.
We need trust.
It's definitely unanimous across the plane curse.
Yeah,
and he probably won't. Yeah,
yeah. Trez is definitely picking Rudy Gobert, man. There's no doubt about it.
My guy has a 7'9" wingspan. 7'9".
And he truly
teams don't even go in the paint when he's on the floor.
He truly strikes fear into opponents. When he's in the paint, he does deter shots, like just by being there, just
They don't even
existing.
go there. They're like, we'll just stay at the 3-point, try to draw them out. If they can do that, but
Before we get to MVP, just a really funny quote from Anthony Edwards in Zach Lowe's article. Zach asked him, is he happy that he doesn't have to go against Rudy Gobert anymore? He said, yeah, for his sake. I love Ant, man. I love that.
And it's the GOAT. Yeah.
And so funny. All right. And then, of course, the big award, MVP. So me personally, I really think this is a two-man race, but I do think Giannis is going to be like third. I think he's going to be like, how is he not he's going to be that guy who's like, how is he not in the really in the conversation? But I do think it's going to be a two-man race. Also, Jokic is going to have to do something just absolutely insane this year to win 3 in a row. Like, they'll have to be the one
Jokic
seed.
is
They have to be doing like a 30-point triple-double. So I think there's, unless all that happens, I just don't think there's a chance Jokic wins a third MVP in a row. But for me, it was really between Luka Doncic and Joel Embiid. And I gave the edge to Joel Embiid because I do think the Sixers are going to have the best record in the league. I think they're going to be really good this year, man. I'm really hyped to see him and Harden this year. And with the addition of also with Tyrese Maxey, I really like the Sixers team, man. PJ Tucker, man, I think he's gonna make a huge difference for them in the playoffs. It won't make much of a difference in the regular season.
We need him to score 6 points tonight. That'd be a big difference maker.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I think it's gonna be Joel Embiid. I think he's finally gonna get it. I think we're gonna see him cry in his acceptance conference, and I think he's gonna talk about how he's the best player in the world. And he's going to earn it, man. I'm really excited. Luka is going to put up ridiculous numbers, and they're going to give it to Embiid anyway, just because his team is going to be a little better.
I'm going Giannis. The Greek Freak will average 32 points a game this season, maybe 31, but over 30.
That way, keep trying to trade for him.
And
I think Sabonis winning MVP.
I think the Kings are gonna have to at least make the play-in.
Kings don't even make the play-in, and Sabonis still wins MVP. That'd be incredible.
But yeah, Giannis I like for 30 and 12, probably like 6 assists, blocking a steal a game. It's gonna be tough to deny him with the field goal percentage at around 55-60%. And with the number 1 seed Bucks, that was my pick. I think Luka's going to be a close second, Embiid third. But yeah, I think it's those 3 guys. I don't think there's really anybody else in the conversation.
Yeah, does anyone have like top 3 candidates? Anyone outside of Giannis, Luka, and Embiid?
No, that's my top 3.
Yeah. I'm going with Luka here. I think my picks with Luka and my coach of the year are kind of playing into what I think the voters are going to want. And I just think the voters, they're going to want to give Luka MVP. He's been deserving of it. He's going to put up an MVP caliber season, probably every single season he plays for the first 10 to 15 years of his career.
And he's quiet.
And he's white. And I don't know. I just think voters are like, all right, Giannis has gotten his 2. Jokic gotten 2. I think it's going to be a 2-way race between Embiid and Luka. And I just think Luka's going to edge it out just purely from what the voters want. It's my only reason.
So yeah, so we all have the same top 3 and pick all 3 of them different winners.
Yeah.
Really. All right, which means probably none of them are going to win.
One of us is going to be right.
Yeah, I'd say one of us is going to be right. I'm pretty sure these are the top 3 favorites too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
All right, so before we do our conference finals and finals predictions, anyone have any like just bold takes for all NBA or all star? Don't gotta go through a whole list. My bold thing for all stars, I think the Wolves are gonna have 3 all stars this year, and I think they're gonna have one guy that's gonna be like maybe he should have gone in. I just don't know if it's going to be D'Lo or Jaden McDaniels. I think one of them is going to be one of those. Maybe he should have gotten in too, guys. But I think the Wolves' big three all get into the All-Star game. I also think they'll have 2 All-NBA players.
I think Zion Williamson gets his first NBA All-Team.
I think Zion already has an All-NBA team.
Yeah,
He's an All-Star and rookie first team. But
That's it. I thought he made like 13 that year. He averaged 27.
no,
Okay, I was mistaken.
don't
All right,
see it.
I could
on his
definitely see it.
Wikipedia.
I could definitely see him making All-NBA.
He was a rookie all first team that year, I think. And he was an all-star the next year, but I don't see the NBA all NBA as any accolades. So that's gonna be
Oh.
mine.
I'm thinking of Julius Randle. That's what I'm
Julius
thinking of.
Randle.
Yeah,
Okay.
Julius Randle has an All-NBA team.
I'm going with Zion.
Feel it. I like that. What about you, Will? You got any big All-Star or All-NBA predictions? Or just like one out there prediction?
I think Evan Mobley makes the second team All NBA team.
Wow.
NBA. Wow.
Or maybe
Wow.
third. If I think he can crack All NBA. Let's go.
Wow. That is
That's
definitely out there.
that's out there.
That is out there. Where do you have Cleveland finishing?
7.
7?
Or
He
5.
makes it.
Yeah, 7.
That's
he makes an
crazy.
All NBA team. Wow.
That's not that crazy. I mean, Nuggets were what, the 6th seed last year?
Yeah, but I mean, you have Garland, Mitchell, and then you have Mobley making an All NBA team. You should be higher than 7.
I think it'll take a little bit to gel, but I think Evan Mobley's the next
The next who? I'm
Kevin
curious.
Garnett.
Okay,
Kevin
I'll give you that.
Garnett.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I thought you were gonna say Giannis. I could see KG though.
No, he's got KG in there.
All right, conference finals prediction, and then we'll do the finals. We'll start with the East. I personally have the 76ers beating the Bucks in 7 games. I think this is the year for Philadelphia, man. I feel like Harden's championship window is closing. I feel like he's gonna give it his all this year. I feel like he knows, like, hey, man, this might be now or never. I believe he has a player option next year too. I think so. That's gonna be interesting to keep an eye on. But I think the addition of PJ Tucker and just knowing Harden's getting older, I think Philadelphia is just gonna be super focused and all in on it. It's gonna be really close with Milwaukee though. Like if someone could tell me Milwaukee could win the game 7, I'd be like, okay, I could totally see that happening too. But yeah, I'm going with Philadelphia over Milwaukee in 7. And then the Western Conference, I have the Golden State Warriors over your Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 pretty embarrassing games. I've been saying this, since we got Rudy Gobert. Golden State is the only team for the Wolves where I'm just like, I don't know if we really have a shot against them. Everyone else, I think they could legitimately beat. I really don't think they have a shot against Golden State. I think Golden State's the only team that could go small and just truly not care about us having 2 7-footers out there and making absolutely 0 adjustments to make up for that. So yeah, I think the Warriors are going to beat the Timberwolves in a pretty embarrassing 5 games.
Well, I got Bucks over Celtics in the East, 7 games. Think, yeah, Celtics will beat the Sixers to get there. They have their number. Bucks will beat either Cavs or the Heat or Hawks. And yeah, it's Giannis. It's the reason why I've got them in 7. And Chris Middleton. So they need to be healthy. Need to be all the way healthy. Western Conference Finals, I got Warriors over the Timberwolves. I really like the Timberwolves to make the Western Conference Finals. I think we were built for the playoffs. We're at least going to win 1 series, or at least they get to 7. And it's going to be, that's my favorite team. So, I had a little bit of bias in there.
but I got them losing to the Warriors in 6 games. I think the Warriors are going to repeat. I like this team a lot.
Let's see. I'm going Eastern Conference. I'll start with the West. It's not as crazy. I got the Clippers over Warriors. I just think these are the 2 best teams in the West. I think that's going to be a 7-game series with the Clippers coming out on top. I think Paul George has been one of my favorite players for a long time. I think the roster's deep. I think it's constructed well. I think they're constructed to beat Golden State. Eastern Conference Finals, I got the Bucks over Cavs in 6. I think the Cavs surprised a lot of people. Donovan Mitchell historically has been one of the best playoff performers ever in terms of scoring. He's going to be really good. You got Diet Kevin Garnett, Evan Mobley. I think that's going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league.
So you think Cleveland beats Boston in the first round?
Yeah. First or second, absolutely.
Well, it has to be the first round.
Yeah.
You got it matched up.
Yeah, matched up 2 versus 7.
Oh, yeah, first round, for sure. We got Okoro doing what Andrew Wiggins did to Tatum, snatching his soul. Tatum's soul was gone by game 2 in the NBA Finals, snatched by Andrew Wiggins. It has now been returned to be taken by Isaac Okoro. All right, let's go. And then no one's going to be able to score on them, man. They got 2 great defenders in the front court, but they're still going to lose to the Bucks in 6. The Bucks are just that good, and then Bucks going to beat the Clippers in 6. I think the Bucks this year I'm not going to say coast, but kind of coast. I don't think they see a 7-game series. I think that they kind of coast their way to an NBA championship with Giannis winning his 2nd Finals MVP, averaging like 45 a game.
Yeah, I got Warriors beating the Bucks in the finals, and Steph winning MVP.
Yeah, and I have. Oh man, I lost it. Oh, I have the Sixers beating the Warriors in 7 with Joel Embiid.
Got the MVP and Finals MVP.
I expect a really big year from Joel Embiid.
I mean,
the free throw merchant.
He probably really appreciates your faith in him.
Hey man, maybe get him come on the show. Be like, hey, I got nothing but love for you. All right. Well, that's our NBA prediction. Real quick to wrap up the show. How many wins did the Timberwolves get this year? I say 52.
Over 50.
Over 50. They're over under. 50. They're over under is 48.5 right now.
I like them at 50 or more.
50 or more.
51.
51. I got them at 52.
I say as high as 54.
My high is 55. That's the high I said they could get. Yeah, man, I love the NBA prediction show. This is probably the quickest we've ever done it too. We did it in under 2 hours. Usually it takes 2 hours to do. Yeah, man. Any other quick basketball takes or any football takes you want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
I'm ready for the NBA season. Let's just say Timberwolves fans all around. This is the year we've been waiting for a long time. It's going to be an exciting ride, and I'll be with you all the way.
I agree. I'm so excited for Timberwolves basketball. I'm so excited. All right, well, I guess we can get out of here. I'm Marcel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @Styles_Rap is Life. You know, I'm still talking about the Bears a little bit, man, but we're only a couple more losses away from me just being fully into Timberwolves mode. But I'm gonna roll with them. I'm gonna roll with my squad. I'm gonna roll with the punches. Yeah, man, beating San Francisco seemed like so long ago, but it's okay. It's all right. I still believe in Justin Fields. I just don't believe in really anyone else on that team. But yeah, make sure you give me a follow. I'm still talking trash. I'm still going to defend my boys. And yeah, Wolves back, baby.
Wolves back, baby. This is Will signing off. As always, check me out at Sports Talk Really. Check out the main page at Across the Plane. Make sure to check back halfway through the season and let us know how garbage our takes are, because most of them will probably age like milk left out in the sun.
Mine won't. All mine are right.
I think my player predictions are on point. I did a parlay with them, so I think it's $1 to pay out like 10,000. It's pretty good one.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Cooked up a good one. But yeah, signing off, folks. I hope you enjoyed this one. I cannot wait for this NBA season, especially the Timberwolves season. Most excited I've been in a while. And not to mention the Vikings are sitting there 5-1 across the division. So it is a good time to be a Minnesota sports fan right now.
Jake the Rookie, THA, like across the plane. Thank you everybody for joining us. And we will be back next week. Stay tuned. Peace.